They digitized this shit. I mean, hey, you know, 13 people may not have bought it, but you know what? It's those 3 people that bought my pimple juices. Oh god, did I just say that? Did I say that's what the cartridge refill? Okay, at least we got one of them. We got one of them. Oh god! Okay, this is fine. This is fine. As long as I keep them, Ah!
Signal in the static, midnight in my veins. Neon wolves are waking, calling out your name. Catch the glimmer in the glass, future in our eyes. Look how many lights are rising, painting over city skies. Last train humming through neon light. Streetlights blur, we're out of sight. You and I encrypted hearts online. Ghosts in the cables crossing every line. Billboards flicker with a corporate smile. But we've been running codes for a while. If you're tired of living on your knees, take my hand, we'll rewrite our destinies. Heartbeat sings with the beats of the street. Every step we take, cybernetic heat in the rear view. All the chains we've worn in the windshield, a brand new dawn. We're the Okami Brigade, cruising through electric rain. Captain Yoru at the wheel, breaking every hidden chain. Let the skyline glow, draw a line across the night. We'll turn the city's darkness into cyan, pink and white. We're the Okami Brigade, howling through the radio waves. Every note a revolution, every groove a life we save. When the warning hits the chrome and the system starts to shake, they'll remember our names in the neon wave. Soft glow dancing on your window frame. Quiet rebels playing a loud game. We've been living under passwords, locks and lies. Now our laughter's breaking through the firewalls in the sky. Coffee cooling on the midnight desk. Screens reflect our worn out chests. But even if the network tries to drown our sound, our little pirate signal keeps on spinning round and round. Under satellites we drift and sway. Retro dreams in a modern day maze. If your soul feels out of place and alone, tune into our channel. You're already home. We're the Okami Brigade, cruising through electric rain. Captain Yoru at the wheel, breaking every hidden chain. Let the skyline glow, draw a line across the night. We'll turn the city's darkness into cyan, pink and white. We're the Okami Brigade, howling through the radio waves. Every note a revolution, every groove a life we save. When the morning hits the chrome and the system starts to shake, they'll remember our names in the neon wake.
I know, it's fun.
In the afterglow, we're the glitch they can't control. Let the colors run, we're tomorrow on the run. If the world forgets your name tonight, we'll write it in the data, shining bright. Okami hearts don't fade away, we just blaze into a brighter day. We're the Okami Brigade, shining where the shadows fall. Captain Yoru's calling out, Brigade, answer the call. When the city holds its breath and the eagles start to fade, you'll hear our neon howl. Okami Brigade.
Is that fucking right? So you're not gonna hesitate to fucking shoot me for that, huh? Hey yo, Kadachis, welcome back to the pack, Chooms and Choombas. How are you guys doing today? Hope you guys are staying safe on those gigs out there, because if you're not, well, don't worry, I'm gonna be coming right over there to flatline you with my thighs. Anyways, sorry about all the weirdness, right? Also, like I did with you because you just said a follow. Well, thank you so much, Choomba. Anyways, I know I'm sounding a little bit weird here, but we are gonna be continuing our Mafia playthrough in just a couple of minutes. Before we do, we got games to... we got videos to watch, things to talk about, you know the whole shtick. But before we get into that, I do have a little bit of something. You may notice I'm not being as loud and bombastic as a heads up, right? And the reason I am not being nearly as bombastic right now is literally right before I started up stream, my roommate literally just came in to tell me they got a call from the landlords because apparently there has been a noise complaint. And apparently from one of the neighbors, and apparently the noise complaint is complaining about multiple tenants or something like that, right? So I have no idea if it's because of how loud I am. Apparently it's at night, like late at night and everything. So as a result, I might have to like tone down my volume a little bit, so I might not sound nearly as loud as you would normally expect me to. But just letting you know real quick, just so you're aware that if I do sound like more quiet, that's why, right? Wow, that's a skill issue on the neighbors. I know, right? Like I'll say, hey there, Lowbird. Here's the thing, I have sound insulation, right? I do have sound insulation on my apartment and everything, so my room is really sound treated, but that doesn't exactly stop things. I know I have neighbors, right? I have neighbors across the way that do have little kids that do scream at the top of their lungs, right? Which is kind of crazy. But yeah, like legit, I literally just heard about that. But you know, that's not gonna stop me from being chaotic. It's not gonna stop me from being the tomboy you all know and love, all right? So just as a heads up, if you're wondering why I may not sound nearly as loud, my streams don't typically go that late at night, so I don't really know why. It may just be one of the other neighbors. Could be an excuse to try and cause an eviction. I hope not. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it, right? It could be shagadelic noises, maybe. Maybe. Anyways, so I want to start off real quick with something kind of funny. Because yesterday I had made a comment, right? Those specific tenants allow kids deserve eviction or a verbal warning so that the parents can set the kids straight? Maybe, yeah. Like, here's the thing. I know there's a lot of, like, I have tenants that are up all hours of the night. Or there's other people in the apartment that are up all hours of the night, like in other apartments, right? And they are usually walking up and down, left and right. So I have, honestly, no idea on that stuff. So who knows? Who genuinely knows on that stuff? Because I'll be real, I don't know. Anyways though, right? Also, like, anyways though, let's get into it. So first off, I want to show a little bit of a funny video, right? So that those who, because yesterday I was showing, right, how like I just absorb whatever light is there on my skin, right? So I wanted to show how bright it is during my, like, during the days that, like, in the morning, right? So here's a video I recorded this morning, right? Where you can actually see the sunlight's coming in, and just, like, watch. That looks kind of like a mirror, right? It looks kind of like a mirror. Halo, thank you so much for being here for over a year. How do you feel? How does it feel, Tube? I appreciate the support. Like, seriously, the fact that I just put my arm into the light and it just goes. Miss Yoru doing her photosynthesis save us some light for the rest of us. Like, I I legit cannot help it, right? You can play so wide. But like, seriously, have you ever seen someone so pale that when the light hits them, it just flashbangs you? Like, it is insane how I could just sit there, move my arm out, and then go poof, poof. I am like a literal rave. You are the definition of a photographer's worst nightmare for Flash. I mean, you're not wrong. You're really not wrong, because I do feel like I am. So you're basically solar panel? Basically. I basically am like a goddamn solar panel, you know? Which is kind of crazy. Because you would typically never, ever, ever expect that, right? And so as a result, like, it's just funny to show just how pale I am in comparison to everything, right? Yours blowing the gap for everyone. Oh. Yeah, but like, anyways, if you're curious about that, yeah. So anyways, I want to talk, right? I want to talk about the main issue, right? With the flashbanging the photographer back, yes. So, what I want to talk about real quick, right? Or the main thing I want to talk about is sitting here and bringing up something I think is kind of interesting. Because we've talked about, right? Imagine you in a wedding dress. The dress makes you shine so bright, literally no one would be able to see you. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, what I want to bring up here, right, is we've talked about the powder situation for quite a while now, right? And so there's kind of a problem here. There's kind of a major problem, actually. And I think that the VTubing community is starting to have a rather massive divide, right? And so as a result, what that means effectively is that we are sitting here on the cusp of the whole idol girlfriend experience culture versus the culture of being more realistic, being more true to yourself, right? And it's kind of honestly crazy to think about, because with Powder, she's also friends with Banana Juju, and also someone, I guess, like Celeste Dumar Art or something, right? The what situation? The Powder situation, because she's basically a rage baiter, and is just completely straight up front with people and everything, right? And so what makes it super interesting, right? What makes it super interesting is that people have been hating on her for all that stuff, and then she started using AI art, right? Yours, the definition of the snap, who was the girl in Dispatch where she was blinded, someone just yells, yeah. And so, effectively, I think we're coming down to a point where you're gonna, hey Dean, how you doing, Joom? We're coming down to a point, we're in like a weird spot where people like Powder, you know, are sitting there being blunt, being edgy, taking a hot take. Same thing with Banana Juju with the AI stuff, right? And yet, because of that, this very weird spot we come into is a weird, what do you do when your choices are to be fake or be real and be seen as the scum of the earth? Because that's how VTubing is basically coming down to, is they're trying to defend the principle of the matter. AI is bad, so therefore anyone that uses AI must by default be bad. Anyone that goes and streams on Kick must be bad, because a lot of bad people are on Kick. And so there's a principle here that if you're seen as a clout chaser, if you're seen as a streamer on Kick, if you use AI at all, like, all of us, it's okay, Neo, it's okay. And I'll say, hey there, Goldman, how you doing, June? If you do any of those, like, 3 things and more, you're basically seen as a piece of shit in a lot of instances, right? And it's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
Because what are you supposed to do when you're sitting there, right? And you're unable to, you know, actually... Also, hi and bye-bye. Oh, okay then. It's like the old saying, why do you need other people's validation when the only validation you need is yourself? Exactly. And being as honest yourself and honest attracts more genuine and honest followers. Exactly. Exactly. Also, by the way, Ballsy Enigma, thank you so much for joining the Brigade Job. I find the gigs the best you're looking for. How you do today? And by the way, I actually have a decibel meter rate. So let me just check it real quick. So in my room, it's about 45 decibels because of the AC unit. When I start talking, it gets to about 87, 85 to 87, but that's because of the sound treatment. So the sound bounces around a lot, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing though, right? The second thing is, and I just want to like, you know, so basically what I'm trying to talk about with this, right, is that it's just super weird because like I myself, I take the time to research this stuff, right? You're using the decibel meter to test its back while doing an ASMR for chatters. The funny thing is I normally get above 90 decibels, but normally you can barely, like, you know, hear me. That's the problem, right? Anyways, so in other words, by being the exact opposite of the social norm, you're automatically an evil person. Does this mean that we're required by law to be more compliant and obedient to all of these crybabies so that we don't hurt their feelings? Kind of seems like that, doesn't it? Because here's the thing, right? With this person, the blue person, I'll read off what they said. They say, I stand by Powder, Banana Juju, and Celestial Mart. And I refuse to stay quiet while they have the lady balls to stand by what they believe. I won't allow them to fight this battle alone. Too many of us have been silenced for years with the fear of being labeled something we aren't. Enough is enough. I stand by people who hold their values close to no matter what the woke mob throws at them. If they want to label us, then let them. Wear it like armor. It's time to fight back and stand strong. Massive thanks to all three of you. Each of you fight for what you believe, and because of that, I have more confidence in speaking out. So here's the thing. This genuinely upsets me. Because there is nothing wrong in that statement, is there, Chooms? Like, legit, I am sitting here. I am legitimately sitting here questioning, right? What to freaking, like, if it's okay to agree with that or not. But yet at the same time, having the balls to stand by what you believe in is a good thing, right? Not letting people label, like, just ignoring the labels that people will label you with is a good thing, because you're not letting people control you. You're not letting people get to you, you know? Which is absolutely crazy. So it's just super interesting. And okay, I also real quick, I just got the I just had my roommate read the lease. Real quick, the quiet times, there should be no loud noises that would disturb neighbors after 11 p.m. during weekdays and 12 a.m. on weekends. People work different hours and each person has a right to peaceful enjoyment of the premises. Which is interesting, right? So basically, right? Now that I'm just like, now that I got confirmation of the lease agreement, right? So basically, the biggest thing is, right? Okay, so listen, if you know you aren't bad and what you say is genuine with no malice in your heart, people call you evil for that, you could just ignore them as their opinion has no real merit to listen to. to be honest, that people do what makes them, yeah, like that's exactly my point, right? That's exactly my point, which is what makes this super crazy. The world is starting to sound more and more like V for Vendetta. Yeah, and that's what, but like, you see, this is what makes me upset, right? This is, in Sweden you have no noise before 8 a.m. and after 10 p.m. No, that makes sense. But, like, this is what makes it, you know, absolutely insane, right? This is what makes it super insane to me, because I'm sitting here, right? Legitimately sitting here reading this. And it upsets me because it's not wrong. I very much am a firm believer that you should stand up for yourself. That you should stand up for what you believe is right. To stand against what you believe is wrong, you know? I believe that if you have to, you know, falter on your own morals, that you are effectively fucking yourself over and not being true to yourself. And if you let people step all over you, they freaking will. And so, like, reading this, seeing this, you know, it genuinely makes it difficult, because because the problem is, agreeing with what is being said here means by default you agree with Powder, Banana Juju, Celestium, and the Blue person, which is crazy, because just because you agree with someone's opinion doesn't mean you agree with everything they do, you know? Like, also, hey there, Penguin, how you doing, Chumba? Like, for example, like, I could sit here and look at Powder, right? And if I bring up, for example, how she's got, like, this whole thing with the white VTuber awards, the black VTuber awards thing, right? And I'll say, yo, thank you so much for the 100 kicks. I appreciate it, Penguin. So, like, if only people could solve their problems with a simple 1v1, yeah. Because, like, the thing is, right? 80s American accent, mama makes a tomboy. What's an 80s American accent? What is an 80s American accent? What? Do you agree with part of what they say, or agree with what they say and they're still not agree with the person who said it? Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Because I actually, okay, first off, I genuinely don't know what an 80s American, oh God. Hang on. Yeah, I have no idea what the 80s American accent is. I'm not even seeing what's supposed to be the right lingo for it. Like, I would have to go, hang on. We didn't realize the 80s were ethnicity. Exactly right. I actually genuinely don't know what an 80s American accent is supposed to sound like, and the YouTube search did not give me a good idea. Anyways, though, right? Okay, exactly. The world is becoming where it's more like a mix of the 80s and the early 2000 films. Yeah. Because, like, here's the thing. With this post right here that Powder has, right? Yes, Powder used AI to make this image, right? But at the same time, I'll be real with you, I don't think most people would have realized that was AI initially, right? In fact, I didn't even realize that it was you know, AI at first, to be honest. But also, I screwed it up. Okay, just do the mama with a mix of tomboy seducing. Oh, well, you see, here's the thing, right? Even when you look at this and you see this, the thing is she's going and pointing out the absolute stupidity, right? Yes, son, I got rid of the fishing minigame for the Talangia dungeon since the fishing minigame got, like, absolutely abandoned, you know? Anyways, like, because let's be real here, right? Let's be real here. This whole thing with the Black VTuber Awards, is stupid. The white VTuber awards is absolutely stupid. Now, while I may not be able to... Seriously? The eye swap didn't work? Are you sure it didn't work? Really? Hang on. It should have worked. The freaking eye swap should work. Hey, freakers, how you doing, Choom? Oh. Huh. I'm gonna guess Warudo broke something. What color did you want, Sainted? What color did you want? And also thank you for that hydrate blasters of the day there, freakers. How you doing, Chupa? You want white? Alright, I got you white, Choom. I got you white. But yeah, like, honestly, if you're openly admitting you're using AI, at least you aren't saying I'm an artist and acting like you're creation. Yeah. Yeah. But here's the thing, right? I genuinely think that this whole thing right here is stupid. I don't agree, right? I didn't get blasted by... Hang on a second. Okay, let's try that again. Let's just try... I mean, I can't do the hydrate, but let's just try real quick the head pads. Okay, head pads work. Okay, eye color swap seems to be working. Now, I guess I just had to re-log into Twitch.
If I so much as breathe in the wrong direction, the
There we
Twitter
go.
mob will shout at me. Call me names, tell me I'm on the wrong side of history, be better, blah 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 blah. Seriously, I'm literally just vibing.
Yeah, that's effectively, right? That's effectively what's happening. And so to me, right, while I do think, right, while I genuinely do think that the Black VTuber Awards, while Tangia Dungeon is now in points, yes, I put the Tangia Dungeon in points so that people could use their points if they wanted to. But anyways, right, Choom? I'll say, hey, Cyber, how you doing? Anyways, though, like, so the problem is here, is that the Black VTuber Awards, while it is, like, giving a highlight and a focus on, like, you know, freaking, you know, a marginalized community, but at the same time, is it really necessary to have a Black VTuber Awards? We already have a big VTuber Awards, a general VTuber Awards, a small VTuber Awards. Do we really need to have a black-only VTuber Awards? And then the fact that people went and made a white VTuber Awards. That's the same thing as, like, people sitting there being like, well, if racism exists for black people, racism has to exist for white people, right? Like, it's a crazy rabbit hole. We need a cute... Not cute! Come on! Come on! It's an echo chamber, much like a lot of established social media. Yeah. It really is like that, right? So while I may not... The problem is, right? I may not agree with the way Powder went about it for showing that this whole VTuber award thing is absolutely ridiculous. I can't exactly say the point she's trying to make is wrong. Because, if like, Chooms, if I'm being real, if we're being real here, right? Is she wrong in pointing out the stupidity of the VTuber awards here? I'll say, hey, SCP, how you doing, Choom? Like, is she wrong? Because I can't exactly say she's wrong. She's not going about it in the best way, sure, but she's not wrong. When are we gonna get Finboy VTuber award? Exactly, right? Right? That's kind of... And that's kind of the point. And, you know, on, like, the freaking comments section, as you can kind of see behind me, they're also kind of weird and conflicted, right?
Can we have an award for the most kindest, hottest tomboy in the world telling the truth, even though she's a cutie bottom deep down?
Yeah. Wait, I'm not cute. Come on. No, no. But like that's the kind of the problem here. Is make too many categories and you water down everything. Yeah, like I literally was sitting there in a community night, going over shit in the community. Powder just rage baiting and it's working wonderful to put spotlight on the BS of people. Yeah, Powder is just rage baiting, but she's also rage baiting in a way that actually does show the flaws. And that's what's really frustrating, because what are you supposed to do when you're dealing with that? Like, for example, I have no doubt that this might actually be AI art, because, you know, if you're using AI art, what's going to stop you from using it, right? What's going to stop you from like, you know, just constantly doing it when you can just churn it out whenever you want? It's crazy. And unfortunately, right? Unfortunately, I genuinely feel like when it comes down to content creation for VTubers, it's basically becoming the old ways versus the new ways. And I can't help but that if that was AI art, the girls would have human ears and animal ears. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily, because the AI art can actually do, if you give it a reference, right? Give it a reference and it can get away with not doing, like, you know, human ears. But regardless of that, right? The point is we're getting split down the middle between the old ways and the new ways of doing things. And I get the feeling that we're gonna have, like, the people are gonna have to pick a side. You're either gonna pick the side where you feel like you need to stay safe and be on the side that's conservative with this stuff, that's trying to preserve the ideals and the principle of things. And then you're gonna have the side that fully embraces stuff like the hot takes, the rage baiting, the AI usage, right? And because of that, I genuinely, right? Also, question about the black VTuber boards. How do they make sure there are no fakes? That's a good question. Because there are some people who literally use a dark-skinned model but are white behind the scenes. Here's the thing, AI also gets flagged, but it's also a realistic choice when you aren't a millionaire. Yeah. Like, seriously. What is, like, legit, when it comes down to that kind of stuff, yeah. Why wouldn't someone choose to use AI when they don't have the funds to buy art, right? I think the problem is owning up to using it, yeah. But also, yes, it's like when I see a Bible verse that is totally relevant and I hate that such a weapon of ignorance and oppression, yeah. Like, that's the problem. AI is like taking over every part of our life. Also, hey, me good collectibles. Thank you so much for joining Brigade Joe about the gigs about you looking for. How you doing today? Like, that's the problem. Is just about every aspect of life is now coming over to AI in some aspect. You want artwork? AI. You want music? AI. You need a paper written? AI. You need research done? AI. Like, legit, just about anything and everything you want nowadays to be done on the internet can be done by AI, which is crazy. AI could be a good entry into it, and then later on, if the individual chooses and has enough funds, yeah. If the individual has the money, go pay an artist, right? There are entirely too many people who hate AI like it killed their grandma. Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of the biggest problem. And you literally cannot escape AI. Like, I legit sit there. And even if an artist says not to put their art into AI, that it can't be used for AI, do you really think that's going to stop someone from using AI? Because clearly, Powder is using this customizable model and throwing it into AI. But that's not stopping them. That is genuinely not stopping them, and that's something absolutely insane. And even on top of that, you take something with Powder here, people are trying to, you know, to attack Powder for the whole AI thing. Even though, you know, Powder's whole thing with their using this model, the artist literally cannot stop her from using it for AI. And people can complain all they want. All Powder has to do is ignore them. Like, I look at it, like, strangely, like, it's like hating a shovel for being a tool to dig into the ground. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what makes this a problem. Like, I feel like the real issue with AI is in the people who create it, and the most problematic thing about AI is the main marketing point. Are you lazy? Well, we have got the thing for you. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. In a lot of cases, like, are you lazy? Well, we have just the thing for you. But here's the thing. There's a difference between someone being lazy and someone using it because they don't have the funds to pay artists. Like, I'll be real with you, you know? Where is it? Like, I'll be honest with you. Take freaking, YoruCrab here, right? They do some absolutely fantastic art. Like, genuinely fantastic art. Like, look at how amazing this looks, right? It looks genuinely amazing. But there's a problem here. If you wanted to pay YoruCrab for a piece of art, you're spending $400. Now, I don't know how many of you out there have $400 just to spend on a single piece of artwork. But not everyone does, and I don't hate artists. They have to eat and live too. Yeah. Money is just way too controlling, and that's the crazy thing. And to make matters, like, you know, even, like, you know, worse, right? If I wanted to go to, like, somewhere like VGen, right? That is not what I expected. Okay. So let's say I want to go to VGen, right? Just to look for something. The biggest problem is you're gonna scroll through this stuff and you're just gonna see a crazy, you know, quality all over the place. Like, for every single moment you might see something that looks really nice, like this one right here. You didn't get something like this that might look a little bit uncanny. To all of a sudden you get something like this right here with the purple demon girl that looks really good. But then you'll turn around and you'll just see something that may not look quite as good. And when you have to scroll through all of this, sift through it all just to find something decent. Like, for example, I think that this person Zen Kazuo makes some really good art right here. That looks good. They don't have any commissions. That makes it difficult. So, okay, that person's not there. Let's go find another person that might look pretty good. All right, here's this one from Moore's GN. They look pretty good. Oh. They also don't have commissions open. Okay. Let's go find another person that looks pretty damn good. Okay, let's go with this this one that is FYAM. Let's see if they've got anything. Okay. So let's see here. A general illustration is $80 for an icon, $120 for a thigh up image. So if you wanted to have like a full body, $140, right? It's like the old days of DeviantArt. Yeah, it kind of is. And that's what makes this super crazy, is that, you know, while this art style is really good, it may not be for everyone, and it might be outside the price range for a lot of people. And so, like, if it's outside the price range for a lot of people, then why wouldn't someone, right, be like, you know, go somewhere like Grok. Go upload a file into Grok. Like, let me just take something real quick. So, like, what if someone takes, for example, hang on. So, let's just say I go into Grok, and someone wants, you know, to just straight up, right, pull an image of their model and be like, you know, put them on a beach in a bikini in a flirty pose, right? All right, so here we go. Hopefully, so yeah, like this right here. This is what you get right off the bat. And like, if you look at that, realistically speaking, you clean that up a little bit, no one would know that's AI. Just straight up, right? Put them on top of a skyscraper overlooking a neon city. Yeah. But that's kind of the point, right? Or this one right here. Sure, you got the human arm, but would you know that's AI, really? What was it, a couple months ago? I had Grok change your hat to change read, don't bully me, I'll come. Yeah. I'll say, hey, Zane, how you doing, Joom? Like, that's what's crazy about this. And then, like, if you do, like, the whole thing with what Manic said, of, like, put this character on top of a skyscraper overlooking a neon
Oh god, I never looked hot and submissive.
So let's say we go through and we do that, right? That AI style is so averagely knows no individuality, yeah. But here's the thing. You can basically sit there, right? And you can mess around with it. Neon City in a 90s. Put this character on top of a skyscraper overlooking a neon city in a dynamic pose in a 90s style, right? So let's change it up a little bit, right? Let's change it up so that this can actually change a little bit more of what we're talking about, right? Now, there you go. Would you recognize that immediately as AI? Chances are, probably not if you don't know where to look. And that's kind of the thing, right? It's in a 90s art style, so it's believable that there'd be issues in the background. You're looking at the city.
Yoru looking at the city. It may not be home, but I know my way around.
Yeah. Like, and here's the other one right here where, like, you know, looking a little bit more cutesy and everything, right? But that's kind of the thing. The only time I accept art as long as the artist's name is on the image in the watermark, fair. But that's the thing, right? If someone could sit there and just take a reference image, right, of this, all of a sudden it becomes really easy for someone to get away with just generating this stuff for free. Because finding someone that's going to make a 90s art style is incredibly difficult. And if I then sit here, like, let's say I want to turn this into a video, right? Because you could do that. We'll just do this and be like, have her jump off the building in an action style way with a dynamic camera movement, right? Let's just see what this does real quick, right? And if you can't add in the sign, the art with YoruVexa in the corner and cursive, yeah, you can. I did the 90s style. I got a lot of mullet magic recently. Yeah. How does that work? It's just it's a whole art style thing, right? And this is what makes this so crazy. Is like, this is the side that people are trying to fight against. I'll say, hey there, YouTube Premium Sub. Thank you so much for joining the Brigade, June. But find the gigs and master you're looking for. How you doing today? Didn't know you were here too, yo. I know cursive. So I'm kind of curious to see how this actually handles this generation.
Here we go! Here we go!
for the most part, that doesn't look terrible. Like, sure, there's definitely parts that are issues, right? Also, hey, Dreads, how you doing, Joom? But that's the thing that makes this whole thing crazy, right? So then running on air theme, yeah. But it's more of watching her stand up and then jump, right? Giving a dynamic angle, spin, doing a 360 spin around her. You got hair movement, you got all of this stuff, right? It's not about, like, you know, if she's running on air. It's more about the fact that she is moving and it's maintaining a certain level of consistency and allowing you to do that in the first place. But moving away from that, right? Again, if we were to, you know, if we were to sit here and then take, you know, the whole bikini one again, and then ask it to do it in a dynamic pose in a 90s art style just to make it look a little bit more, you know, iconic, to make it look a little bit more stylistic, right? There you go. Now that's a little bit more stylistic. You get a little bit more something that looks a little bit more unique. All of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, that's not too far-fetched. You wouldn't immediately notice it as AI. It doesn't have the normal graininess that AI would have. Also, by the way, Fire Girl Midnight, thank you so much for joining Brigade 2. Above 5, the gig's the best you're looking for. How you doing today, Choom? Like, this is what makes this so dangerous, but also scary. And it's why, like, even if I look at it from both angles, there's a freaking level of consistency here that's terrifying, right? When did you become a Pokemon trainer, right? But moving away from that, right? Moving away from that. And coming back to this. This whole thing, Powder is on that side of, if you can't beat them, join them. If AI is here to stay, no, AI is not going anywhere. Freaking AI art is not going anywhere. So you might as well use it to make a point, because if we're being real here, right? Like, let's be real here. Do you really think that some artist out there is realistically going to make this into art? Do you genuinely think, Chooms, that someone is going to go out of their way just to draw these two different images in time to be relevant for a freaking meme? Honestly, no. Most people aren't going to have that kind of turnaround with artwork. Most people aren't going to sit there. So if you're someone that's trying to be very topical, if you're trying to be someone who's going to be very on the nose with things and rage bait people, there are already a bunch of AI YouTuber singers, the art, the animation, music. Yeah, exactly. And we've even gone over that in the past too. And that's what makes all of this crazy, is that honestly, even if you don't necessarily agree with every little thing that Powder does, right? And the whole purpose of AI existing is to make lives easier, but in some cases, it can cause more harm than good. Yeah, you're not wrong. You are genuinely not wrong in those cases. But that's what makes this so difficult. Because what I'm seeing here, right, is someone who knows very much what they're doing, right? Also, if it isn't the realest, baddest wolf on the air, well, thank you, Demon. I appreciate that, too. Like, that's what makes this difficult. Wait, what? What do you mean, wait, what? Like, that's what makes this whole thing super difficult. Because if you're making fun of a VTuber award surrounded by black people, and then someone else makes white VTuber awards, does that automatically make you racist? No. Does it make it a hot take? Yes. Also, it's one of those things. I'll say, hey, Terrence, how you doing, June? It's one of those things that, unfortunately, right? Let's face it, most of this AI generated imagery is being used to goon to. Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. No, is the Australian mode broken? Weird. But yeah, basically, right? The biggest problem with all of this is that because of how I am as a person, because I don't agree with the normal VTuber standard of things, because I don't agree with being, you know, generic, you know, giving into the girlfriend experience, whatever, right? As a result, I find that this whole thing means that if you're not with the majority of VTubers, then you by default probably will get lumped in, right? With people like Powder, with people like Banana Juju. And it doesn't matter if you're not, like, you know, being as rage baity or as hot takey as they are with their things. It all because people keep things very simple. And to them, the simplest way to put it is if you are not like other VTubers, you are by default bad. If you do not subscribe to cancel culture, if you don't subscribe to causing drama, if you don't subscribe to all the stupid contradictory rules that VTubing has, you're a terrible person. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Chip, thank you so much for joining Brigade. I hope you find the gigs and masters you're looking for. How you doing today? And it's just... It is genuinely crazy because then I legit sit there. And I'm like, I am not Powder. I am not like Powder. I actually try to think things through. But right now, with how the gatekeeping of everything seems to be, like Manic is saying, it's literally like, I would need to do the whole, well, oh my gosh, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm not so good at the video games. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the video games. Like, oh my god. You guys will help me, right? Like, no. No. And that's the thing, right? The problem is, because I'll be real here, right? There are a lot of people who are just straight up throwing things around, who are straight up throwing a freaking fit about so much shit, it's not even funny, right? Because, like, you know, Powder gets called a racist. They get called a freaking Nazi, whatever, right? And all I have to say is, like, is it just me or are people throwing that stuff around a lot more often, right? Like, if you don't agree with someone, you're a snowflake. If you don't agree with someone's ideals, you're racist. If you agree on certain points of certain things, you're racist. If you don't immediately conform to something, that makes you a Nazi. Like, I'm not the only one noticing this, right? Like, I'm not the only one noticing that people are just throwing out insults left and right, thinking that people, that it's going to work, right? Also, they're weaponizing virtue signaling. Yeah, they kind of are, aren't they? And I'm just like, I'm just sitting there, right? I would rather be called racist than agree with somebody that's completely just because they said so. Fair. Absolutely fair and valid. But yeah, like, that's, if you're not on their side, you're the scum of the earth and it's their mortal enemy. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what makes it so crazy to me, right? Welcome to the world where people rage bait, cancel culture person, and be a fascist, pessimistic person that they are by weaponizing words to use like a psychological mental game. Yeah. I think it's best to ignore much of what is said on the internet. If they don't know you, how do they know? Exactly. Hot take, just don't be a shit piece of human. Yeah. But, like, that's the thing. That's the thing I think that sucks the most, is as I sit here, right? It's one of those things that I think just genuinely shocks me, because why sit there and get upset when you can just block and move on? If anything, I think the thing that makes this worse to me is the fact that I have to sit there and think about the idea that because of how I am as a creator, that I would automatically get lumped into the same boat as Powder and Banana Juju, just because I don't, you know, go on the same path as the majority of VTubers. And it's genuinely a pain. It is genuinely a pain, right? And I wish there was something better I could say about it. I wish there was something better I could do about it. Because it feels like there's not a lot that I can really say other than haters are gonna hate, right? Juju is also great. Are they? I haven't really watched most of their content. I've only ever really heard people complain because, oh no, she uses AI. Oh no, she gives hot takes and everything, you know? And I think that's just kind of like the craziest part of it all, right? Like it is genuinely crazy. And also, I'm gonna be real quick. I'm gonna be real, right? I don't know about you guys, but like, do I seem anxious right now? I think I feel like I feel a little anxious right now, you know? A bit, yeah. Getting the news about the whole thing with the lease stuff, right, has kind of got me on edge. And I am like, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm a little bit like, I'm like about 2 seconds away from like a panic attack kind of deal, right? Like that is the level in which I am, at which I'm at, you know? So, like, I don't know, like, my energy genuinely feels all over the place, and I'm trying to control it. I'm trying to, like, bring myself down. But my energy feels a little bit weird, so I don't even, I'm gonna be real with you, I think they just reported it together with others because they did not really know who made the noise. I know.
Just a little anxious. Honestly, you need a nice comfy bed, comfy pillow, and someone to cuddle.
I know, like, the problem is like, this is the kind of anxiety, and I think you guys know what it's like, where it eats at you, right, Chooms? It's the one that eats at you, and you sit there, and you can't do a whole lot about it, and so it just, like, sits there, and it'll sit there for, like, hours, if you know what I mean.
Ooh.
So, God. Like, I'm gonna be real, the anxiety is getting at me so much, I don't know how long I can last. God. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I think I need to, like, you know, take a breather. I think I need to, like, lay down, right? So I think as much as I want to continue the stream, I don't think I'm in the emotionally or mentally right headspace to be able to handle that right now. So I think as for now, I think I'm gonna have to call the stream really short today, and I apologize for that. So I can deal with my anxiety, all right? I really do apologize about it. It might be in the VC a little bit later in my server, so to talk a little bit more once I've come down. So there's the link for you guys, Jooms. I will see you guys tomorrow. We can try to do Mafia tomorrow instead. But take care, Chooms, all right? And stay safe.